to Machtails from the Cantina. Another live episode. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm making myself a Hoth Teeny. Hoth Teeny is pretty much a martini. I'm using Tito's vodka. I was going to make a blue milk for you guys, but I had too many of those last night. I was a little hungover this morning. But anyways, I cannot have a martini without thinking of my sister, the queen of martinis. Got some blue cheese olives, stuffed to myself. Nobody wants to watch that on a live stream. Did that in advance. So I have some olive juice. I like it dirty, but not porn star dirty. Hynes shot first. Thank you for my friend Brian for this gift. A little olive juice in there. And what makes this different is you put a Hoth action figure in there, and then you have a Hoth martini. A Hoth teeny, I should say. Now, I gave this guy a little bit of a wash. I love my childhood, but I don't want to taste him in a martini glass. So, hey, cheers. Happy Friday, everybody. Cheers. I need to take the edge off, man. I'm still nervous over this live stuff. Gotta have that vodka cold, too. It's been outside all day. Hey, I got two tins. As you guys know, I love tins. I got the heroes. I got the villains. Inside the heroes are Patreon member names. You'll win a prize, but you have to be present to win. Email me on Facebook right after I draw your name. In the villain tin, we have drinking word of the night, which is Fete. Every time you hear the word Fete, drink along with me. Hey, speaking about Fetes, we have a friend, an old friend of mine, Mr. Sean Hynes, joining us a little bit later on the show. So one of the things you do get as a Patreon member, and for those of you that got the link via a Bought and Spy, please head over to Patreon and consider joining me on this new journey that I'm on. So we do this segment called Inside the Wampa Cave. I'm down here amongst my Star Wars collection that I've been working on, slaving over for a long, long time, man, and it's looking really good. I wanted to turn the camera around, but I'll save that for next time. So I share an item, and I don't know where you guys live, but it's cold and snowy in like 85% of the United States. This thing came out in 1999. I had a case of soda, and this was a hot item back in the day. And I don't even know if they make Pepsi One anymore. But I'm unloading this case of pop, and this thing is just staring right at me. This thing was selling on eBay for like $300 back in the day. I'm like, no, I got it myself. Didn't buy it on the secondary market. I want to keep it. So years later, I was in a really crappy relationship where my Star Wars stuff started going over to places to just kind of remain safe, if you will. And this thing ended up in the garage. Now, for those of you that don't spend a lot of time in cold weather, in the garage, it gets super, super cold. And you know what happens to liquid in a can? The can exploded gently. So when I display this thing, I got to keep it kind of high like this. Otherwise, you see the blemish there. So another thing you get the weekly podcast show. It's 20 minutes. You can also be a show producer like my good friend Michael Wistock. Got new merch like this. A lot of cool collectibles. I'm only doing one show a month now via YouTube for free. So if you sign up for Patreon, you're going to get a lot more of what you love about the show. Hey, speaking about collectibles, I would love my friend Sean Hynes to come on to the show. He was a guest. He was a guest on episode 1 that's almost got, I want to say, 400 likes now. So I'm going to bring on Sean. And Sean, welcome, man.
Hey, what's happening, right?
How are you, brother?
Hey, I figured this was appropriate. I mean, spring training is right around the corner, isn't it?
Spring training is very, very close, man. And
right? This is right in your wheelhouse. Right here. This is your time of year.
It sure is, man. It sure is. And, I got to ask you, I asked you this on on the show, episode 1, many moons ago. But what are you drinking tonight, man?
Well, tonight, just keeping it simple. I've got just your run of the mill rum and coke in a Duff beer glass.
Cheers, man. Cheers.
Cheers.
What kind of rum you drinking?
Bacardi.
Yeah, Bacardi's all right. Not too bad. Hey, you got to stay away from the Gordons. Like, got to stay away from the Gordon's gin, Gordon's vodka. It'll make you feel like hell in the morning. You probably wish you would have
got to straighten up here. I got the helmet head. Got to make sure my hair's got to look good. Got to get those curls going.
So hey, man, I want to ask you. You must have a love-hate relationship with collecting, because with the amount of space that I have in my house, I am out of space. I still have.
And you got all the space in the world.
You would think so. You would think so. So I'm down here working on my collection. I think about you on a weekly basis, and we talk. We talk several times a week.
Isn't it nice? It's always nice to be thought of.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Me and you, we go way back. Me and you. So hey, man, what are your plans for your collection? Does it drive you crazy that it's sitting in?
Yes, it is driving me crazy. I see like you and Alfie and all my buddies that get these awesome display cases, and Jimmy Mac with all the stuff he's got set up, and it just drives me bananas. I've got a 40-foot trailer full of stuff that I can't put out. I got like a few shelves that I'm allowed in my condo that my wife and I share, where I have to rotate it out throughout the year with different things I want to put on display. Right now, it's kind of remained stationary for the last year or so because I just I've been lazy. I just haven't been. I like the way it looks right now, so I just left it alone.
Oh man, it's a lot of work. I mean, that's the thing too. Like, because I was lazy about it for a long time. I moved 3 years ago, and I'm finally just getting it on display now. But I feel like once you hit that spot, and you're like, hey, I'm going to spend time on my collection, it's a really hard thing to walk away from, and then you just kind of get on the roll. But
yeah, I mean, the wife and I, we have definitely outgrown our condo probably by 5 years. I mean, I got my Star Wars.
You outgrew 10 years ago, man.
Yeah, that's probably a little more realistic, if I want to be honest. So yeah, so it's like, she's got her collection. She collects Barbies, and I've got my Star Wars and superheroes and whatever else I've got. We all have our tangents that go out besides Star Wars. And I think we were still this year and last year. We're trying to take advantage of it as much as we can, since nobody's going anywhere. So might as well try to pay down as much debt as we can and see if we can finally put some money towards a house. And then I can finally get stuff out of that trailer and out on display where it should be.
Well, hey, I tell you, man, it's a hell of a time to buy right now because the rates are so low. I wanted to refinance because I'm paying interest on my my other house that I'm renting out. It's double of what the rates are now, and it sucks.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Besides not having my collection out, that's the other thing that's driving me mad. Is I know how low the rates are. I know how great.
Yeah,
I want to take advantage of them.
I think that's the upside to the pandemic. If there's a couple upsides, there's a couple silver linings. Hey, speaking about your collection and speaking about Patreon, you guys have sent in some questions for Sean, and I appreciate that. That's one of your perks. I have a question from a good friend of mine that has a hangover story from last weekend. He just got married day before Valentine's Day. He asks, "What's the most valuable piece?"
Well, that's a tough one because there's several pieces that have different levels of value monetarily. Right now, I've got so many statues that have come out over the years. Animated statues that maquettes. That live in the traditional colors and the holiday special colors and such. I've got things like like these sideshow Hot Toys figures. This one was for the Empire Strikes Back. It's all done up to look like the colors of the vintage You
Oh,
know,
yeah, that's
I know it's hard to see like this. That's why it's probably better look at it like that. And then, but the biggest, probably most space consuming, and I guess you could say expensive. I can't remember who made it now, but I have it's in storage as well as everything else. But I do have this replica Han and carbonite, which was cast from the original prop used in the movie. That's my dad posing with it. And this was when it was on display in my apartment that I had in Clayton Hills, Illinois. And I'll show you a few other quick pics related to this item here too. This was during a Halloween party I had. There's who do we have here?
Oh yeah.
That's me as Maul and you as some random Jedi that.
Look at how young I look. That was in
Look at that head of hair you got there too, And then here we are having our little battle, and of course it can only end one other way, with me killing you. So that's just the natural conclusion to that battle. So I'd probably say
it's kind of telling for some of the moments that we've had in our relationship.
Yeah. So I mean, I'd probably say since that's like the biggest prop in my collection, I call it my conversation piece. That's probably the most expensive.
No, yeah. The funny thing is I remember you. I want to say you probably paid more for that Hot Toys collectible than you did that Han and Carbonite.
It's possible because I stole that. Well, it was a steal of a deal.
Yeah, I was jealous of that steal. And
you and I both know that thing sold for probably $4,000 retail when it first came out, which of course is worth probably closer to $10,000 now.
Yeah, right.
But I got it off a guy who just happened to post it in one ad or classifieds or that I saw in some sci-fi magazine. The guy wanted $400 for it because he was going through a divorce. He needed money. He just wanted to get rid of it. So I snatched it up.
That's crazy. The crazy thing, looking at that photo you were sharing too, John Duffy's ex-girlfriend. They were boyfriend and girlfriend at the time, but she's the one that made that Jedi robe that I was wearing. Now, I know. Okay, so we were cosplaying back in the day. I know you are a you love attention. You're like an attention whore. We've had this conversation before.
For lack of a better term, yes, I would say I'm very shy, very introverted, and don't like attention at all.
Well, okay, so I wanted to ask you this because I started thinking, I'm like, okay, we're coming up on a 1-year anniversary of not only Machtails from the Cantina as a show, but the 1-year anniversary of when everything locked down, March 13th. There has not been any cons in almost a year. One, how are you getting your attention nowadays? Because there's no cons. And two, how are you managing without conventions at all? Because you've gone to 12, 13 conventions a year,
It's a very weird sort of feeling. It's like surreal in a sense. The last convention I went to was C2E2, which literally took place about 2 weeks before Illinois went into lockdown, into the stay at home. So yeah, it was pretty nuts. I was there with my niece and Lisa, and then everybody there was no concern over it. There was nothing weird everywhere. There were no masks and no social distancing. It was just like a regular convention. Then 2 weeks later, the whole state shuts down and nobody can go near each other or touch each other or breathe on each other. It's just what it was. And it was just weird that we were just at that convention. And I miss, it's definitely missed, to be sure. And as far as getting my attention now, you're looking at it. This.
I think you've been a guest on the show like 4 times, which is great.
This is about it because there's no going out. There's been really no occasion for me to wear a costume. I think there was something that might have come down the pipeline that I was going to try to do. I don't even remember what it was, but whatever it was, I didn't do it. I think it was Blackhawks related.
So, speaking about the costumes, a question from a good friend of mine, Ian Savage. He asks, what's the most difficult Mando mashup that you've had to pull off?
That was probably the Batmando that I did. Just because there's so many different parts to it that I put together. It was the most detailed as far as all the different parts that I put on it. So, like with the Blackhawks, it's just armor over a jersey. With the Sox, man, it's the same thing. It's just armor over a baseball uniform, but mostly just the top armor, not so much leg armor. With the Batman, though, I went full on. I mean, I've got the cape, the helmet, I've got shoulder armor, all the full chest armor, the codpiece, the leg armor, and everything, the back piece. It's all there. Every bit you'd expect to see on the Mendo's on that one. And then, of course, since it's a Batman mashup, got to have the utility belt, with the bat gun and the bat grapple and all the stuff that's attached to it, like you'd expect to see on a Batman costume. So that was probably the most involved and one that probably took the longest to put together.
And I think it's cool because when we did the Real Fans of the Saga, you featured a lot of the costumes in there. Now, I did want to give you guys a little bit of an update on the Real Fans of the Saga. COVID caused a delay. Some of you might recall that from a recent podcast episode. But my buddy Ian unfortunately got tested positive for COVID. Definitely slowed him down a little bit. So 7 and 8 will be on, let's say, on Amazon by the end of March now. So hey,
one other quick thing about Batman. I brought this to show since we were talking about it. This is one of the things I did. I think I did this at Celebration. I don't remember which one. It was one of those 3D scans that you stand on a turntable and the camera rotates you, and then you have the option to get yourself made. So I made myself a little Batmando figure.
Oh, you made that?
Yeah, I had this made. I sat on a turntable and it rotated me around and scanned me, and then had this.
That is badass.
And I made it the same size as the vintage figure, so I can put it on a shelf with all my vintage figures, and it'll be the same size, and you can stand right next to Boba and everybody else.
Wow, that is really cool. Hey, so going back to the costumes and going back to Real Fans of the Saga and all the hard work that you put into making your costumes, I have a very, very interesting question and a little bit about the background on this. Sean actually brought this up to my attention over the summer. Over the summer, we were having a very personal one-on-one chat, as we always do. But this question kind of pertains a little bit to that. After the effort to make the Rays Mando helmet, this is from David Gladding, what was your reaction when Chris basically said all you did was paint it with stickers?
Well, yes, we did have a conversation about this, didn't we?
And what did I tell you? What? Don't spoil it. Let me get the answer from you first, and then you can tell the audience what I told you.
Well, no, I'm gonna let you tell them what you told me, because you gotta own up to what you told me, because I called you out on it. Initial reaction, because you didn't tell me. So I didn't see that footage of you saying that until the episode aired. So when I saw it, I was like, well, mother trucker, this ungrateful SOB. I spent all that time working on it. He just thinks of slapping a paint on a bucket is no gift. Are you kidding me? So my time, my labor, my artistic integrity holds no value. Just because you bought the bucket, it doesn't mean I didn't get you a gift. I was like, you son of a bitch. Son of a bitch.
Okay, so this is what I had told you, and this is absolutely true. What I had told Sean is that, Sean, that what we're doing with this reality show, it is real, but a little bit of behind the scenes. And my good buddy Wistock, who was a producer of the Real Fans, he's a producer on Machtails. He said, you don't want to give away all your behind the scenes secrets. That's just that's a little bit of my problem, right? I wear everything on my sleeve. We always add a little bit extra drama for the reality show. So
What? I mean, the stuff that happens on reality shows aren't 100% real. I don't believe you.
And we don't have agents,
It's real. I mean, let's be honest. Most of it actually is real, because we are really filming things that we do. But yes, there are some moments where things are reenacted or not reenacted, but enhanced for dramatic purposes. Let's just say.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I got to tell you, this is a good follow-up question to this. This is from Tyler Page. What is the hardest part about being my friend? Now, I want you to be honest. Now, I want you to be honest.
Getting you to answer the phone when I want to talk to you.
You mean to answer the phone?
Yes.
Oh, I always answer the phone when you call.
Are you sure about that?
You know what? Okay, here's a little insight. When you call me, I know that I have to at least set aside a good half an hour.
Because sometimes you'll call me, and then I'll maybe miss the call by one ring, and I get it too late, and I'll call you back within seconds, and you don't pick up, and you don't text back, and I'm like, dude, I think. But that's probably the most the hardest about being a friend. But that's okay. I accept you for who you are. I know that's just who you are, and I know you got a crappy phone too.
Well, I know when people do that to me, I'm like, fuck, they just called me. How did I miss their phone call? I called it back. Now they're not picking up their phone. The funny thing is that I would not have thought that is the way that you would have answered. Okay, hey, we're gonna test our friendship now for real.
Well, now I want to know what you thought I was gonna say.
One more time.
Now I want to know what you thought I was going to say.
Oh, just my energy is a little bit much for a lot of people.
Oh, you know what? The energy thing doesn't bother me at all because I know that about you, and I know I can be that way sometimes too. So, yeah. No, not the energy.
And we're gonna get into a little bit of our energy kind of colliding in the air. We're gonna turn up the heat a little bit. We're gonna test our friendship a little bit here.
You really want to do this?
I will tell you, on episode 1, I was very tame when I recorded my first show with you, and then I told you kind of a little bit about Guinea Pig because we've been friends for so long. There is really good comfort level that me and you have. Hey, Sean loves getting in front of the camera. I need to get somebody, on my episode 1 of whatever it is, or my documentary, whatever it is. I'm going to get Sean. He'll never turn me down. I cannot stand rejections.
That's okay. I can deal with it. With you as always, as Garth. That's fine.
Now, you guys know that we take a lot of our game time right from Watch What Happened Live on Bravo with Andy Cohen. And we're going to turn up the heat here a little bit. We didn't do this on episode 1 back in April of last year. This is going to be Shag, Marry, or Kill.
No, the missus is going to love this one.
Yeah, the missus is going to love a lot of these questions to follow. Okay, now I'm going to keep it with the Star Wars theme. We're going to do characters. We're not going to necessarily say the actresses. We don't want to get personal about things. Just a Star Wars fanboy fantasy. Okay, Shag, Marry, Kill. Cara Dune, Admiral Holdo, Vice Admiral Holdo, and Rose Tico.
All right, hold on. Let me pull the pin on this grenade real quick and lob it just before we get into this. Yeah, of course you would come up with that. No, we're not going to get into the people. Let's just talk about the characters. That's only the 3 most controversial characters in the last 5 years. That's all.
Hey, well, that's what makes this fun. That's what, you guys know on Mocktails, we do like controversy, and that's a little bit of my reality side in me. My reality TV show side in me.
Well, let's see here. I would have to say we got to kill Odo and her purple hair. We'll just get that out of the way. And then I would say shag the hell out of Cara Dune because that could be fun, especially with all the MMA moves. That could be interesting. And then
you said shag Cara Dune.
Yes.
Okay.
And then Mary Rose because she's just a sweetheart. She really is just a sweetheart. Always wanting to do the right thing. You say what you love. You know what?
It's funny. I posted this on my Facebook page, and people were like, it was one of those things where I made a post, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get myself into so much trouble with this.
Yeah. And you probably did.
the way that you would answer that question, that was very, very, very popular choice. Okay, now this next game we're gonna play is more of a storytelling segment. The story that I want to share real quick is when I went to Germany with my sister and my cousins. I drank so much beer in Munich, Germany, that my German friends call that Bavaria. That's like saying, yeah, I've been to the United States, I've been to Texas, I know what it's like. So
well, it's like going on vacation and telling people I'm from Chicago when I live in neighborhood.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I think it's worse than that. But I had so much to drink, just beer related, that it was the only time that I blacked out. I woke up in the morning. I was so hungover. It was on a Sunday. I was laying in bed and I told my sister, I said, you need to go get me some freaking aspirin. I cannot move. She comes back an hour later. Everything's closed because it's like old school Europe, old school Catholic. Like Sunday towns shut down. Can't find any aspirin. So we go to this amusement park. It was like an episode of The Simpsons. There are these big paramedics in the back of the ambulance. They're drinking these really tall beers. And I'm like, I need an aspirin. They're going to have an aspirin. I'm like, hey, I was having too many of those last night. I thought everybody was going to laugh. Said, no, we need to take your blood pressure first. So
your blood pressure.
Yeah.
They just happen to have blood pressure taking materials on hand at the moment?
Well, yeah, because I was in the ambulance, you know?
Oh, okay.
Because I saw this ambulance was there, set up kind of as a first aid precaution. So they didn't find my joke funny. They took my blood pressure, gave me aspirin, and then I went out. I like, okay, I need a hair of the dog. And the hair of the dog is, you know, when you drink too much, you have a little alcohol and it kind of neutralizes your body. So I sit down and I'm like, can you please give me some water? And in Europe, they want to drink water like this big. Because there is no more water. We use it to make the beer. And I went, okay, give me a beer. Fine, give me a beer. So anyway, that was the worst hangover I had. And I always use, when I'm hungover, I say, I'm halfway to Germany. Because that's, you know. So you're not a big drinker like myself and a lot of my friends. You got to have at least one crazy hangover story, man. You have to at least have one.
There's one. And only that, and it was one of those things. It was just like, you know, I'd never really been like that. I did, so it happened one time, and that was the last time it happened. You know, I was at a wedding with a friend of mine, and they had a little mini bar station at the reception hall, and so me and my friend, we were, you know, having some shots. But the shot we were asking,
and you don't drink, and you're having some shots.
We're doing shots, yeah. We're doing shots. I mean, I was probably just freshly 21, so I'm like, you know, just over the legal age, just newly legal. So I'm testing the waters here, and so is my friend, and we're doing Jack, and then we did Goldschlager, and then we did something else, and then there was something that we asked for that he didn't have at the mini bar. He had to go to the main reception hall and get it from the main bar and then come back. Well, when he did that, he left his mini bar unattended. So me and my friend, we're like, and then he comes back with the shot we asked for. I'm like, I don't remember much after that. I just know that they found me in one of the bathroom stalls muttering something about Kentucky Fried Chicken, and my friend ended up in the hot tub in the middle of the hotel lobby, which was a pool and a hot tub in the middle of the lobby, which was an atrium, and it was just the open atrium all up the floors of the hotel. And he's screaming, I mean, I think he threw the broom in the pool, and then they finally dragged me to the bed, and because I was the way I was, he was on the floor. And I remember when they put me in the bed, they put a bucket next to me. They said, if you have to, here's a bucket. I'm like, okay. And I remember all of a sudden I had that feeling come on to me. So I leaned over to look for where the bucket was, and I went to the wrong side of the bed, and it's where my friend was sleeping. I noticed it was him. He's like, no, the bucket's over there, the bucket's over there. And so I go to turn, try to get to the other side of the bucket, and it was like the Bellagio fountains going across the other side of the bed.
Oh, you didn't throw up on your friend?
No. Everywhere else, though. Everywhere else.
Everywhere else. You know, it's funny. Real quick, I remember when you were at the Montrose Room several times to see my band, to see your brother's band. So I worked at this hotel that I was a talent buyer for, and we played a gig, and I got super shit faced. And at the end of the night, I was too wasted to get out of bed. I turned to the side of the bed, and I just threw up on the floor. And Michelle like starts elbowing me. She goes, "You work here." You can't do that. Terrible. Okay, hey, we are going to go on to the next fun part of this game. This is going to be the last part of the show. And at the very end, we're going to pick a name of one of you Patreon members. Remember, you got to be present to win for the prize of the week, the live podcast here. Okay, so Sean, this is Plead the Fifth. I played this with your friend Alfie, my friend Alfie, and I think he actually pleaded the fifth once. Here's the rule.
Did we do this on the first episode with you and me?
You know, you might have, but these are completely different questions if we did. Okay, so I'm going to ask you some questions. You can only plead the fifth once. Again, this is right out of the Watch What Happens Live book. Have you ever watched the Star Wars porno?
No.
Okay, amen, brother. I haven't either. Me and you we're like that.
I was aware of it. I knew it existed. I saw them selling it at a Comic-Con, but I haven't. No.
That's good. I am proud of you. I'm proud of you. That's always the question that I want to ask somebody. I'm like, oh man, please don't say yes. Okay, so does Lisa own a slave Leia outfit?
No.
No.
But that's not because of me not trying. There was a brief moment, I think back during Celebration 3 or 4, where I almost got her to do it, you know, but it just didn't come together. And now it's pretty much out of the question unless some miracle Beachbody experience happens to both of us and we become ripped.
You don't have to cosplay. You know, like I bought a slave Leia outfit for Michelle, and I tried to get her. She's worn it, not out in public, but I tried to get her to wear it for a segment on Real Fans of the Saga. And she's like, absolutely not.
Why not? Come on, be a team player like everybody else. But even my mom's told me, like, she said, "Oh, you'd never wear that, would you?" And then she said, "Oh, I might if I were in shape." But I'm like, and then she looks to me, she's like, "Why would you want your wife walking around looking like that?" I go,
"Oh, you wear it for the bedroom. You wear it for the house."
Yeah, this is,
You know, it's funny. Hey, real quick, you were at the Jar Jar Jam back at Celebration 1. I don't know if you remember, but there was one girl dressed up as Slave Leia at the Jar Jar Jam. And
if I didn't know you were going to bring this up, I have a picture of her from the Jar Jar Jam.
This girl was at the Jar Jar Jam. She felt so uncomfortable that she's like, you know what? I cannot wear this for the entire event. So she ended up taking it off. Well,
I can imagine. I mean, about Celebration 1. At Celebration 1, you could count the amount of people that were wearing costumes during the course of that weekend, probably within 2 hands. You know, there wasn't a lot of costumes.
2 hands.
You know, and yeah, there was her and I think one other person at Celebration 1 that did a slave Leia. That I can think of. So yeah, there wasn't a lot. There was a Lando, there was a Han, there was a Chewbacca, there was somebody as a rebel trooper from the 10 to 4. I'm just running around. There was even one of the first Adidas vets, DJ Adidas vet was there too. One of his first appearances.
Yeah, so Celebration 1 was very, very. It was very new, very organic, very grassroots, very different, and very, 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 very memorable for sure.
Yeah, I always call it the Woodstock celebration because of the rain and just how
Yeah, right.
it was like that didn't stop us. That did not stop us.
Well, I think a lot of the Woodstock element too that a lot of people tend to forget is just the overcrowding of a fan base. And I remember that once that tent got full, man, there was so much stuff that you couldn't miss. It was like the tent held 500 people and there was 1,000 people there, just to kind of round up the numbers or round down the numbers. Hey, okay, now the next the fifth is feelings on Gina Carano. Feelings on Gina Carano. You're giving me the stink eye there, my friend.
I think I might end up pulling the trigger on this one because I am a person who stays away from landmine topics like that because I don't think it serves anybody or the fandom to go down that road. People can say what they want to say. They can have their opinions about the person. They can have opinions about what they said. That's their choice. I choose to remain neutral. Do I have an opinion about it? Yes, but that's my opinion, and I'm going to keep it to myself.
You're pleading the fifth.
I will plead the fifth on the Carano incident because I don't think it's necessary to pick at that scab. I don't.
Okay. I like that answer. Now you cannot plead the fifth anymore moving forward.
That's fine. It's just the bottom line is it doesn't serve that topic does not serve the fandom in a positive way, so I choose to leave it.
This is a little bit of a follow-up question. I only took one question from the Patreons tonight. Some people asked too, but my good friend Tyler Page brought up a question to ask you, and this ties into very much what you're saying now. How do you cope with? How do you? I don't want to say function, but how do you deal with the negativity? Me and you have been there since the beginning. We were there during the rebirth. We were there during the peak and the low and everything else. I do not recall fandom being in this negative state like it is now.
I'll tell you what, it's definitely a sticky, jagged little pill to swallow because of how much I love this franchise and how much I love Star Wars and how much I hate to see the fandom be so split and divided and just the buzzword is toxic all the time and towards each other regarding this or that or the other thing. When we were growing up, Star Wars was Star Wars. It was like the cool thing to be into, when it came to sci-fi. Most people thought of sci-fi, you're sci-fi, you're nerd, you're this, that, but Star Wars didn't matter. Star Wars was always the cool thing. Star Trek was for nerds, Star Trek was for nerds, Star Wars was for cool kids. You could debate that however you want. That's what the impression was back in the 80s when you had the sort of jock versus nerds thing. But even though Star Wars still got its fair share, hey, you're a nerd, you like Star Wars. Anyhow, but there was never this animosity amongst fans before. And this new generation that is experiencing Star Wars for the first time, or these new generations that are experiencing Star Wars for the first time, have this wealth of stuff that they can dive into, books, comics, movies, TV shows, all at once, and just absorb it all at once. And I think they're a little spoiled in that sense because they haven't been able to appreciate it the way you and I have, having to wait for each thing to come out 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 16 years between things that have come out. So I think there might be a bit of a deeper appreciation for us, what I call the OT, the original trilogy gang, OTG gang, both original trilogy gangsters. And what it does is it creates, I think, a deeper appreciation for it that maybe the newer fans don't necessarily understand because they're just looking at it as you're old, you don't get the new stuff, you'll be gone soon, and then Star Wars will be ours, which I don't agree with either. The OK Boomer thing. First of all, I'm Gen X. I don't give a crap with the OK Boomer thing. But if you're gonna call me OK Boomer, at least get the right generation when you're doing it.
Right. Well, I think too, because of the state of fandom and the way it is, and I know Jimmy Max, like, kind of, I've always gone to him for advice. I don't always follow his advice, but I always value his opinion. And I would really much like to talk about the state of fandom in my next documentary that's going to close out the trilogy. The force around us, just because it is this force around us, right? It's just this negativity and this positivity, and it's I don't know.
Well, it's funny because I remember when we were making the first movie. And we were talking about making the trilogy. I remember we were batting around ideas for the titles. And I was like, oh, yeah, Force Within Us, Force Among Us, Force Around Us. At the time, when we were talking about the Force Around Us, I was thinking of the concept more like the locations or just the impact on pop culture in that sense. Where you can't see a TV show or a movie or a news report or anything without hitting some kind of a Star Wars reference. Being brought into it in some sense, that's what my original concept for Force Around Us would have been about. But when you look at the way the world is now, the Force Around Us takes on a whole new meaning. To your point, where you see how the Star Wars franchise affects fans from different angles, and that would be interesting to cover. And I would very much, when it comes to dealing with the division, I try to find ways to find common ground and have open conversations and open discussions. I don't like having discussions where there's just no way you're going to convince that person of their opinion. They're not going to change opinion. It's like you're either with me or you're wrong. I can't have a conversation with something like that.
Yeah, well, it is true. It's like, you got to watch out when you talk about politics, religion, and now Star Wars. So, okay, I got two more questions for Plead the Fifth. Have you ever, and you got to answer these, have you ever hid something from Lisa that you've bought? You buy something, you can't tell, you kind of hide it in. Hey, you used it on Gina Carano, my friend.
Man, you trying to get brother killed. Well, could you? I'm a little deaf in this here. Could you repeat the question? I'm sorry. You're breaking up, Chris. I couldn't quite hear it. It didn't come through there. What was that?
Like I buy something from eBay and I got to get to the mailbox before Michelle does, and I kind of just slip it to the garage,
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course I am. Of course. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think any one of us that has this obsession has done something along that line. Try to catch the mail before, I'm not. What the sad part is she gets home before I do, so I'm busted every time.
But you know what? But she's a great woman. She loves you. She puts up with you. You're a great guy. She puts up with you. There's payout for both of you.
I hit the jackpot with that. It's like I feel like Mary Jane, Spider-Man, Face the Tiger. You hit the jackpot. I certainly did, and I say it over and over and over again. I don't know what I did or how I did it, but I'm sure glad I did.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Hey, okay. So the last question is something that me and Sean kind of have as a very private story. When we went to Orlando in Celebration, it was me, Sean, and Lisa. And real quick, I was very, very tired. And I have a line for being hangry, and I have a line for being tired. I'm like a baby. I gotta sleep. I gotta do it. So the last night of Celebration, and I was like, dude, I just want to fucking sleep. And you were rummaging through stuff. You had the lights on, and we had a blowout. Make a long story short, we had a blowout. Do you wish we would have got that on film?
Part of me wishes, yeah, because I mean, you can't redo that. I mean, that was. I don't know that I would have wanted it actually aired, and I don't know that you would have wanted it aired too, because you were in your skivvies. You were wearing nothing but your underwear at that moment.
Hey, but I'm okay. I look good in my skivvies.
I didn't appreciate it in front of everybody else, including the wife.
I got out of bed in my underwear. Sean's in his towel. He just got out of the shower.
I just got out of the shower. Well,
he's in his towel. I'm in my underwear, and we're.
Here's part of what set me off that night too. Well, if you want to get into it, we'll get into it. There was a lot of building. Let's just be honest. It was the end of Celebration.
Yeah.
It just got done with a marathon weekend of not sleeping.
We were both exhausted.
We were both just white, and we were the line of the temper was razor thin. You know. So, and I remember when we got there.
It was on Easter Sunday.
Yeah, and yeah, right. Bless me, I'm sorry, Father. You know, but when we got to the hotel, you know, you just wanted to get in there, but then you're like, I need my noise machine so I can sleep. But you didn't think to put it somewhere where it was easy to get at. So I made the special effort to dig it out for you.
You know what? You totally did. I completely forgot about that.
And I did that, and then while I'm doing that, you and Bo jumped the fence to the hotel next door so you could go soak in a hot tub while I'm bringing everything up to the damn room. So, and then of course, you know, with me, I knew we were leaving the next day. The way I plan, the way I travel, I pack everything up the night before. So when you wake up, you just get in the car and you freaking go. That's the way I do it. So that's why I was packing things up. Everything that we didn't need to have in the car, I brought to the room. The rest I was packing into the car. And then that's why I was in the shower when you and Bo came back from the hot tub. And now you want to go to bed. He was like, dude, I made the special effort to get your damn noise machine, and you're yelling at me because I'm making noise. Like, screw you.
Some of that night I actually forgot. I do not recall getting in the hot tub with Bo after hopping a fence, but I do remember you digging up the noise machine. Real quick, a segment that I've been wanting to do on Machtails from the Cantina since the beginning, but I've never done it. Hey, show me your shirt, man. My buddy Savage is watching. He says, "What's your shirt? Your whole entire shirt."
All right. So this is a mashup shirt, of course, of the Duck Hunt game from Nintendo, but it's Bounty Hunt. That's what it is. I'm all about the mashups. So nice. I got plenty of mashup shirts.
I got the Boba Fett shirt like that as well. Hey, and it's funny. David Gladding just chimed in after hearing that story. He said it sounds like the Star Wars porno. That sounds like the Star Wars soft porno edition. Hey guys,
it's not quite Skinamax After Dark. It's more like Showtime or the movie channel.
Yeah. All right, hey, I got to pick it out. Okay, so I want to thank you guys for chiming in. And again, if you got the link from A Bothan Spy, please head over to Patreon and become a member today. Picking out the winner. Oh, no, that's the Villantin. See, the martini's almost gone. I'm picking out of the Villantin. That's the word. That's the drinking word of the night.
Come on, Chris, pay attention, my man. Let's get it. Stick with me now.
I forgot what it was. Hope you guys have been drinking along with us. Okay, the winner of tonight is Sean Todd. Okay.
You spelled my name wrong.
Sean Todd.
You spelled my first and last name wrong.
Spelled your first and last name wrong. Well, you're not a Patreon member, though. You're not a guest. So we'll send you something in the mail. Okay, I have a feeling that Sean Todd is not watching live. So I'm going to pick another name. I see a couple of you guys in the chat box. Okay.
So you got to be watching the win.
You got to be watching. Now, I'm only if I draw three names, and you're not here, then you just got to wait till next week. Michael Wistock, my brother down in Texas. He's a producer of the show, but he's very busy. Something tells me he's not watching live tonight.
Michael going once.
Okay.
Michael going twice.
Strike three here. Here we go. Strike three. Who do we got? Andre Wolf. Andre Wolf. Okay. All right.
That sounds like a wrestling.
I'm friends with Andre on Facebook. He's been a supporter of ours for a long, long time. He's very much into boxing, so it's his boxing name.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say it's a very cool name, man. That's a cool name to have.
Yeah.
Cool. Coming to the ring,
So, hey guys, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I wish I had the outro music here. I don't. Hey, I love all you guys. Thank you again for chiming in. Thank you again for watching. And Sean, thank you for being a guest.
We're talking about valuable. This is my most valuable, sentimentally.
From your childhood.
The guy that started it all for me.
Those colors, man, those colors. I tell you, there's something about those colors that's nostalgic.
You want to see the most recent thing I bought?
Yes, yes.
Walgreens. Got it on sale.
Hey, that reminds me. Actually, that reminds me. Okay, so on the last Wampa Cave that I did for the Patreon members, I talked about Valentine's Day stuff. I found two things in my Valentine's Day box that I did not share on the episode. Here's the thing. This is full of candy, and it's probably 10 years old. I don't even eat candy, and it should be dumped, but it just looks cool.
Yeah. If it's the hard candy, it's almost to leave in there.
Now this one's really old. I think this one's from 2005. Now this one still got the chocolate. Oh, I can smell the chocolate.
Oh God! Yeah, look at that chocolate fading. Ooh, yeah.
But the cool thing about this is Star Wars chocolate mold, right? It's like
the way it's fading, it looks like chocolate and carbonite.
Yeah, it's all gonna exactly. All right, guys, I want to thank you again for joining us on Machtails from the Cantina Live. Everybody, be good, be safe, wash your hands, stay 6 feet apart, and we will see you next time on Machtails from the Cantina. So long, everybody.